Hey guys, it's Katie. Welcome back to my channel. So I have 4 super simple tips for you that are gonna help make meal prepping so much easier and save you a ton of money. When I was first starting my 45-pound weight loss journey, I was really overwhelmed by meal prepping. I thought it was something I had to do. I had to make every little meal perfect, measure it all out, put it in these containers. It was so unrealistic, and I also just felt like it was gonna cost me a ton of money. I know that these tips are gonna help transform your life, help you eat healthier, and save you money too. So if you're excited for this video, sweat the thumbs up, give it a little click. And if you're not subscribed to my channel yet, hit that subscribe button. I have new videos for you every single week. All right, so step 1 in making meal prepping so easy and saving money is having a plan. I know this sounds like duh, but I used to just think I had to buy just tons of fruits and veggies and tons of proteins and I'd figure it out. So for me, that looked like starting with one meal that was the hardest meal for me to eat healthy. Breakfast was pretty easy. I would make some oats or something in the morning, but I found when I was at the office or running errands all day and I didn't have something meal prepped, I would end up buying lunch out. And even healthier lunches out, you're gonna end up probably having larger portions than you need. They're filled with sodium, and just not having a healthy lunch for me meant it was easier to make unhealthy decisions. Pick one meal as your baseline to start and go from there. So once I knew that lunches were kind of where I wanted to start, then I started planning what I wanted those meals to look like. What were like the key ingredients? And one way to save a lot of money when you're meal prepping is to buy in bulk, because you can always freeze even your chickens and proteins if you're not gonna use them all that week or cook them right away. And shopping seasonally. So fruits and vegetables that are in season at the time are gonna be way less expensive than an avocado. If it's not avocado season, it can be like 2 or 3 times the price. Once I knew I was making lunches, I had an idea of what those seasonal fruits and veggies were, I'd go to Costco and buy like bulk chicken, throw half of it in the freezer, get a ton of the veggies there. Then I would start to look at like what I needed to actually make to have those meals ready to grab and go. For me, there's always 3 staples in every meal I have. Well, 4 technically. A protein, a healthy fat, healthy carbs, and my greens. So those are the things I prep. The healthy fat is easier to add at the end. So I'm gonna focus on my prepping of my grains, my carbohydrates, my greens, whatever those veggies are, and my proteins. In this case, it's gonna be chicken. Step 2 is to actually get prepping. So for me, that looks like preheating the oven, or I'm gonna use the air fryer for my chicken. So I'm gonna preheat that as well. Washing any of my vegetables. So today I'm gonna be doing sweet potato. I do sweet potato every single week. It is such an amazing vegetable. It does count more as like that carbohydrate, but it also is loaded with fiber. And then my greens, I have broccoli. So if you guys watched my healthy grocery haul on the budget video from last week, you saw me get a lot of these staples. So if you haven't seen it yet, go watch that one. But I also showed you my hack for washing fruits and vegetables. I'm gonna do it again in this video because it's so weird, but it also is super effective. This is actually gonna be the up-leveled version of it because I'm using sweet potatoes. These suckers have so many cracks and crevices and get real nasty. Yes, you can of course peel them, but to me it's a waste of time and you're losing some of the nutrients in that skin. So I'm gonna show you guys what I do with these to make sure that they're perfectly clean. I'm gonna break down everything I do for my lunches, but I'm also gonna show you guys some delicious breakfast meal prep recipes, some that are from my Guiltless Nutrition Guide. And if you just need tips in general for eating healthy when you're on vacation or eating out, or how to make those swaps, how to build, and even basics for cooking, the Guiltless Nutrition Guide and recipe book has over 135 recipes, and so many of those just staple healthy living tips to help you really transform that lifestyle. So I'll link that for you guys too. If you wanna check that out, you definitely should. It is the first ebook I wrote because it was everything I learned through my own weight loss journey that I had no idea. So now I get to share with you, which is really awesome. But timing is everything for my meal prep. So I don't spend more than an hour prepping and I end up getting tons of lunches and like I said, those breakfast meals. So I like to make sure I time it all out really nicely. So we're gonna start with what the hardest things are to cook, which are my sweet potatoes. I'm gonna cook the sweet potatoes and the broccoli together in the oven, and then I'm gonna be doing my chicken for my lunches in the air fryer, like I said, and I have a really great hack to make sure your chicken is super moist and stays that way even when you reheat it later. One of the things that's super important when you're cooking sweet potatoes is to make sure they're really dry. I usually like to just chop the ends off a tiny bit because they do get a little crunchy and it's hard to clean into that area. But however you want to cut these is fine. The key is just trying to make sure most of your pieces are roughly the same size so that they cook evenly when they're in the oven. So I'll just spray a little bit on there. I'm not gonna really season these at all. I don't like doing a lot of seasoning on my vegetables in general, but in meal prepping, I just try to keep it really simple so I can switch it up as I go to actually eat those meals during the week, and I'm not locked into like, this is like my lemony whatever, or Italian something. Like, I just want it basic, then I can add to it in the moment, and that just gives me so much more flexibility. For my broccoli, I'm actually gonna put it in this dish that's a little bit deeper, because instead of using an oil, I'm gonna use a little bit of bone broth, which has amazing nutrients. It adds some protein, it adds some flavor, but it also helps just cut down on those extra calories of oil if you don't need them. Again, making meal prepping even easier. I have pre-washed, pre-chopped broccoli. It just makes it so much simpler because you don't have to spend the time. And I feel like also people tend to waste the stems if we like buy them. I usually will cook those if I'm buying whole broccoli, but this will just make it simple. So the idea is basically just to kind of coat the bottom of the pan. You don't need a ton. It's not like it's gonna be like swimming in there because you don't want it to be like soupy, but just enough to give it some moisture so it'll get nice and tender. We're gonna throw these in the oven, and as I do that, because these take the longest, like the sweet potato is probably 20, 25 minutes, broccoli is more like 15 to 20, and then I'm gonna start on the chicken because that only takes like 7 minutes, and then we'll get into those breakfast recipes. Step 3 is just to get cooking. So I already got those veggies in and going. I'm gonna show you how I cook my chicken because it is one of the easiest ways I've ever cooked chicken, one of the most delicious, and it adds protein. Yes, we're adding protein to the chicken. I know, it's crazy. So, secret ingredient to my chicken is Greek yogurt. So good. We're gonna put a little bit of seasoning with this. The Greek yogurt just helps lock in that moisture, and you guys are gonna see when I pull it out just how much better it is adding this versus just like some olive oil or coconut oil, or like just doing like an oil or something. This is key. I'm gonna spare you from looking at the chicken too closely though, because I think it's disgusting, and if I don't wanna look at it, I doubt you do. One quick thing, if you don't already do this, you need to rinse and pat dry your chicken. Like, don't just pull it out and start cooking it. I have a fresh cutting board. I'm gonna just keep drying this. I just got a bunch of paper towels to soak it up. Also, why does broccoli smell so bad? Like, it smells so awful when it's cooking. Ugh. But it's so good for you, and I actually love eating it. But this cooking is so nasty. Make sure there's no paper towel left behind. Then I'm gonna wash my hands, and I'll show you how I do it. For the chicken, I'm just gonna take a giant spoonful of the Greek yogurt. You gotta get a little messy here. We're just gonna give the chicken a nice little rub down. I like to get like real extra with my seasoning as far as how much I put on. Flip it over. And in the bottom of the air fryer, I'm just gonna do a little bit of that avocado oil spray so it doesn't stick, but the yogurt will also help it not stick too much. Just kind of coating in there. Then we place these right in. It might make it a little easier to cut the chicken prior to, but I feel like you also lose some of the moisture. So I'm just gonna keep the big breasts in there and stick it in at 7 minutes, and then we'll check it because they're a little bit bigger. It might be more like 8 minutes, but I always like to do less, and if I need to add more time, that's better because you don't want to overcook the chicken. So while the veggies and the chicken cook, I'm gonna show you how I cook my breakfast, but really it's kind of just part of that meal prep. So I'm gonna do smoothies and some overnight oats so I have options. And I actually just reuse these Ziploc bags. I like them because they take up less space. For a while I was doing them like in jars in the fridge, and it was just like too much. So this is really simple. I got during the grocery haul these little baby organic bananas, which are perfect because they're like the right size for a portion of fruit going in here, and I don't have to worry about chopping them, because if you get giant bananas then you have to like chop and do the whole thing. These are great. So we're gonna start with 1 banana in each one, and I'm gonna make like a berry beauty smoothie. So 1 banana in each bag. Then we're gonna add about a quarter to a half a cup of the mixed berries. So I got these at Trader Joe's as well during that haul, and they're just such a good price there. I mean, obviously buying in bulk with frozen fruit too is really great if you do like Costco or anything, and I think they have like really good prices on organic berries like that too. I just like going to Costco as like an event, and you have to really plan for it. All right, so we got the bananas. We're gonna do, like I said, some of these mixed berries. I'm just eyeballing it. Feel free to measure, but it's like a 1/4 cup or so. Okay, so I'm also gonna add some oats. Gosh, it's gonna be hard to, okay. Again, oh boy. Welcome to my life. This may be measured next time. It might be a little easier, but about 1/2 cup of oats in each bag. And then I'm gonna do 1 scoop of LSF plant protein in the vanilla in each one. The vanilla is just like this subtle sweetness because I use the monk fruit and stevia. It is organic, non-GMO, gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free, like the cleanest protein you can find. Because it's a brown rice and pea blend, is actually like the optimal blend to have the highest digestibility score and be the most compatible with whey protein as far as like its ability to help build muscle, which is really great. The secret ingredient to this berry beauty smoothie is obviously Natural Beauty. And if you have not tried her yet, you guys, the reviews are freaking insane. Like, you know, I worked so long on creating it that I know it's a good product, but when all of you try it and are like telling me your skin has been transformed in like days and sending in photos, it still blows my mind. It helps reduce fine lines and wrinkles. It helps increase your skin's plumpness and firmness in as little as 2 weeks, which is nuts. Like, women have already seen a difference. And then I also really worked hard with the food scientists and the chemists to come together and like figure out what other ingredients could help with skincare, like things like hormonal acne that I suffered from, like big cystic zits. And a lot of the ingredients you'll find in here are ones that I started adding into my diet when I was going off birth control and noticed my skin was like freaking out. So that's where you'll get a lot of those hormonal acne benefits from the DIM, selenium, and they also have amazing benefits for us hypo girls. Okay, so that's it. Everything in the bag, ready to go. I throw these in the freezer. And another thing you can add in here that's really great is frozen spinach. But for now, I'm just gonna make these ones berry. I was planning on making like blueberry overnight oats, but I don't know why I just got hit with like a chocolate peanut butter vibe. So we're gonna make those instead. So I have 4 jars. I'm just gonna open these up. You can again measure. I'm not going to, I'm just gonna make it real simple. I just eyeball it, but I have so many recipes for you in the Guiltless Nutrition Guide and in my Hot Body Meal Plan with the measurements. I do them in there for you guys. So you can definitely check those out. But this mason jar has measuring on it, so you can use that too. Oh my gosh. I need like a, what are those called? Like a, where it like is big on the top and goes, a funnel came to me. And these are gonna go in the fridge overnight once I make them. You probably only need about 2 hours in the fridge, like really, for them to cook. But I like to do them overnight because you make sure that it really is able to soak everything up. All right, so each of these have about a cup of the oats in them. Then I'm gonna grab my chocolate protein and some peanut butter. These would be like perfect PMS oats, you know, like chocolate, peanut butter. And the thing I like about overnight oats is you can either do them hot or cold. So if you want to warm them up, you can always do that too. So 1 scoop of the LSF plant protein and chocolate. It smells so good. I like to do generous scoops, so it's like a little bit more. These are 20 grams of protein. The peanut butter protein has 23 grams actually, but some 20, so right in there. And then I'm actually gonna add a scoop of Miss Congeniality Mood Boost into each because PMS, like I said. So this is gonna help ease PMS symptoms, help improve your focus, improve your mood, reduce stress, full of vitamins and adaptogens and minerals. This is like the OG, you guys. If you've been on my channel for a long time, you created this with me. Like, I would blend all those things together and put them in my coffee. And every day, every video, you'd be like, what is in that? What is in that? And I had put so much different stuff. It was hard to be like, oh, do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And so Miss Congeniality was born. So once that all's in there, then I'm gonna just fill it with milk. So this is just plain unsweetened almond milk. And the Miss Congeniality also adds sweetness because it has that monk fruit and stevia. So you'll get that perfect balance without it being overbearing, and it has a little bit of like a nutty vanilla taste. And all you need to do is mix these up. You can shake them, but I like to get in with a spoon because it's hard to tell sometimes like if it's gonna fully coat the oats, especially when you're adding the protein. And during like that time of the month, it's really important to make sure you're getting healthy carbs and fats and proteins even more than ever. Your appetite does increase, so like your caloric need goes up slightly. So adding a little bit of extra in here too with that protein is gonna help balance those cravings, help balance your mood. And then what I like to do is add my nut butter and stuff the next day if I know I'm gonna be home and have time. But if you're like, no, I'm making these because I'm headed out the door, then just add the tablespoon of peanut butter here and we'll stick them in the fridge and they'll be good to go in the morning. Step 4 is putting it all together. So I'm gonna show you how I put those lunch meals together 2 different ways. One, when I'm gonna be home and have a little more time, and 2, when I like just want it to be able to like grab and run out the door. And the last thing I usually prep, but sometimes I go this super simple, easy way, is rice or quinoa. This is just the microwave stuff. You can totally do that. It's obviously gonna save you more money if you just cook it yourself because rice is really cheap, but this is just super easy. All right, so when I am actually putting it all together for lunches, I do it 2 different ways, just depending on how much time I have. So one is gonna be putting everything in containers and then just throwing it together when I'm ready to actually eat it and mixing and matching what I want. So I'd put chicken in one, sweet potatoes in one, broccoli, you get the idea. Sometimes I do containers when I'm on the go, like I was saying. So these are just ones I got off Amazon. And I'll just throw everything in here and then I'll still add my sauces and stuff later. Sometimes like I'll bring an avocado for my healthy fats on the go or like tahini or some type of dressing, but this just makes it easy too. So since we're gonna be home this week, I don't actually need anything that's like on the go and I know I'm gonna have time to throw it together. I'm gonna do it the most basic way, which is just each individual thing in their own container. So I had a little extra broccoli that won't fit in the container, so I'm gonna show you guys how I would put together one in one of these as well for on the go. So I would take about, and again, you can measure if you want, about a half a cup, maybe actually I'll do my veggies in the big one since there's more of those. About a half a cup of the sweet potatoes. I'm gonna use these as my carbohydrates, so giving Ryan the rice. I eat rice and grains and everything too, and I really like to make sure I get all of my carbs earlier in the day. So like breakfast is a great time, and then pre and post workout. That's where I like have the concentration, and then I'll taper off my carbs throughout the day because our body utilizes them best earlier in the day and during those times. Veggies loaded up, and then about 4 or 5 ounces of the chicken protein. So you don't have to measure again, use that hand. If you have my meal plans, I have it in there for you all the time as a reference. So your protein size is about the size of your palm, your carbs are about your fingers, healthy fat about the size of your thumb, and then as much of those green veggies as you want. That is it. Super simple, easy, budget-friendly meal prep, but just start small. If you're not meal prepping at all right now, just choose one meal, whatever one is normally the hardest for you to get those healthy meals in, and start with that. Do what makes sense for you. Even a tiny change will end up making a huge difference for you this year. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that red button, subscribe to my channel, and sweat the thumbs up, give it a little click. It tells me and YouTube that you like this type of content and is a really great way for me to continue making it for you throughout the rest of this year. All right, you guys, don't forget, good things come to those who sweat. I'll see you soon. Bye.